Hi guys, it's Catherine, and today I want to talk about why we need to preserve bookstores. So just take a second to imagine a world in which places where you can walk in and buy physical paper copies of books doesn't exist. I don't know about a lot of you, but I kind of grew up in bookstores. My parents took me to the bookstore as a little girl and still take me there now. And I can go by myself because I can drive now. So really, I can go to the bookstore whenever I feel like it, and honestly, if I could pick, I'd probably be there like 90% of the time. So realistically speaking, with all the electronic developments we've come out with in the last couple of decades, bookstores probably won't be around forever. They'll probably go extinct sooner than we may expect them to, which is a really scary thing for me. But personally, I think that we should try to keep them alive, and I think there are good ways to do that. So I'm gonna go into that, and without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want to say is Johannes Gutenberg. And that name may not mean a lot to many of you, but he was the inventor of the printing press in like 1450. The printing press, which allowed us to print off mass copies of newspapers, books, the Bible. I mean, it couldn't have been that easy to spread around writing before we were able to print it out, right? Just take a second to picture that. If you had to hand write an essay 10 times for every college you applied to, so basically, the printing press made our world a lot more convenient and the world of writing a lot more accessible. It's arguably one of the most influential developments that humanity has ever come up with, and bookstores are commemorative structures and places where we can appreciate this amazing breakthrough of humanity. The other thing is that bookstores are in general just a really beautiful place to be. I mean, there are shelves and rows all over the place, and they're all lined with all these beautiful books with beautiful stories inside. If you're not feeling the mystery novel you're reading, you can put it down. You can go to the fantasy section, and if you're not feeling the Lost Princess story that you're reading, you can put it down, and you can go pick up some science fiction. It doesn't matter. There are all these stories right in the palm of our hands, right in front of us. All we have to do is walk down the aisle, and we can get a new one, and we can start reading. So there's a lot of potential for new stories in bookstores, and there's a lot of potential to just pick them up and read them, which we can do so easily. I don't think there's anywhere else really that we can do that unless you have a really massive library at home. Libraries, that's true. We do have libraries, but we have bookstores for that also, and we would not have libraries if we didn't have bookstores. If we didn't have bookstores, authors wouldn't be making money, and there would be no books to go into libraries. So anyway, my point is that in this one place you can read about magic and alien invasions, and you can read about World War II from the perspective of Stalin's bastard child. Whatever you want, it's all right there. You can also meet people who love books as much as you do. I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of times I've walked into a bookstore and struck up a conversation with a total stranger who just happens to have a passion for reading. So I think it's really important, as it's a place where you can meet people who love the same things you do and are very interesting people. I personally think that the people who read books are the most interesting people the world has to offer. But I'm biased, so take that with as many grains of salt as you will. So the complaints a lot of people seem to have about bookstores is that they're extremely expensive. And that's true. I just bought a book for $25. One book. $25 for one book. Now personally, I think that it's worth it, but a lot of people don't. So people are hesitant to buy from bookstores. It's worth noting that bookstores usually sell a lot more than books. I mean, you walk into Barnes & Noble, you've got art supplies, you've got journals, you've got magazines, you've got Starbucks. I mean, you can buy from the bookstore in a variety of different ways. So for example, I once went to this independent bookstore in Cannon Beach, Oregon, where I didn't really buy any books because it's hard to carry around books while you're traveling, and it's just difficult. It's a huge hassle to bring them back. And also, I didn't really feel a need to buy any books just then because I was able to exercise some self-control at that moment. So what I did was I just bought these little paper corners, and they're like bookmarks. And I have one in my beautiful new copy of Lady Midnight. Ugh. And basically what these book corners do is you can fit them on the corner of your page. So they're like a really small bookmark. You just put a chunk of pages in them, and you can flip to the one with the Eiffel Tower on it. That's the front. And there you go. It's a really low maintenance bookmark, and I think it's perfect. They were only $5 and I have a whole little box of them. So I use them all the time, and I just think that's the perfect way to support a bookstore, even if you don't want to spend $25 buying one book. I still think that's a little ridiculous, but I'll do it. For Cassie Clare's books, I will spend $25 for one of them. Anyway, I just wanted to make this short video talking about an issue that means a lot to me. I hope I was able to convince some of you who maybe didn't agree, and if you did agree, great! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!